Episode 61, Knowing When to Automate, Delegate, and Eliminate in Your Business and in Life with Brittni Schroeder.
Welcome to Latter-day Life Coaches, the podcast where each episode is a conversation between me, Heather Rackham, and one of my amazing coach colleagues. Each coach here is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and certified through the Life Coach School. Together, we have one main goal, helping you live your best life no matter what. You ready for this conversation with the coach? Here we go.
You can have a great product, but if you don't know how to market it, it won't really matter. That is what Coach Brittni Schroeder knows after having run several successful businesses and helping her clients market their businesses. She specializes in helping her clients know how to market their product without the process consuming their lives. She believes you have to learn what you can automate, delegate to others, or eliminate altogether so that your business can work for you while you are doing the things in your life that matter the most to you. She wants her clients to be making money while they aren't working. If you own a business and feel run down by all the back-end processes, Brittni has got you covered. She is definitely a coach you will want to listen to and maybe even hire so that your business can be more successful and automated.
Okay, with me today is Coach Brittni Schroeder, and this is going to be a great conversation. It's a little bit of business, a little bit of life, something that I think many of us are focused on. We have those two areas in our life that we work on. And I love life coaching because those things intersect so well, business and life. And we're able to change perspectives. And usually when we change our perspectives in one area, it also helps the other. So if we can change some things in our personal life, things in our business life shift and vice versa. So this is going to be a great one. Brittni, will you just go ahead and introduce yourself before we get started?
Yes, of course. I am Brittni Schroeder, and I live in Houston, Texas. I have two kids, a 17-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, and a husband of, I have to think because our anniversary is this month, and I have to count 23 years this month. So
congratulations.
That is me. Yes, that's me. And I am a business coach and marketing strategist for coaches and entrepreneurs.
So fantastic. I think that's the marketing strategist part. When I hear you say that, I think that's the piece that they're like, ooh, I want to do all the things but that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I always say you can have an amazing product, but if you can't market it, it doesn't matter. You gotta have both for sure. So
we live in a time where like anybody can become a business owner. And I think that's so fantastic. We have the access to obviously internet, and the online market industry it just has changed things so much. And obviously COVID and all the things that have just brought us into our homes, everybody has access. Anybody can be a business owner. And I love it. So I love that there's people like you who can help us, people like us who are running businesses. So thank you for providing.
Yeah. It's fun. I love it.
Okay. So what is like one of the main things that you love to work with? What do people come to you with and want help? Because I think whatever people are coming to you with is probably generally what the rest of the world is struggling with too, as far as starting a business and going from there, or just running a business in general.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, like you said, anybody can start a business, and that's true. And there are a lot of business owners out there. And a lot of times what happens as entrepreneurs is we have this like great idea, or we have a product or service that we see a need for. And so we have a great idea, we start making money and we're doing well, but we don't really understand business as well as we should because we're making money, but either you get burnt out or it's not consistent. And I always say there's two ways that small businesses fail. Either they can't grow, they don't grow enough, or they grow too fast and they can't keep up. And it starts to kind of fall apart and look kind of messy. And so one of the things, probably the main thing that people come to me for is systems and automations. And that's kind of my jam, is systems and automations, is helping people create the systems, meaning, how do you organize your business? How do you put together like funnels? How do you grow like your social media? How do you, like communicate with your clients? How do you do all these things we're running around. We spend so much time wasting time on things that we can like automate, or if we had a system, then we could just save so much time. And I think you get to the point in your business where your time is either more valuable or equally as valuable as money. And it seems like we run out of time a lot quicker. And so creating systems and automations, it frees up our time so that we're able to focus on the things that like really bring us joy, like our relationships or even parts in our business that we love. If you're a coach and you're spending hours and hours, like sending emails and invoices and, social media, and you're not spending a ton of time on coaching, that's where people get burnt out a lot of times because they're not able to really focus on the things that they love and enjoy. So I would say that that's the kind of my jam. The main thing that I would say that I specialize in is helping create those automations and systems.
Well, I love hearing that because from the very beginning, before I was a business owner, but when I was a mom with young kids, I was all about like, I had to automate things in my life, or I felt like things would fall through the cracks, or I always felt like I was drowning. But if I had a plan and if things felt automated, like I just knew that I was. And it's hard to automate a lot of things. And if only you could automate diaper changing, right?
Oh, I know, right? For sure. Or laundry.
Yes, laundry. Good grief.
Yeah.
But as much like of planning that I could get into that seemed to make things so much easier. But I think as a business owner, that has carried over for me. I realized and saw how helpful it was to just always have a system in place and to automate things. And it has really been influential in the way that I run a business as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, and one of my favorite mottos and that I put on my marketing and my website and all the things is automate, delegate, and eliminate. What can we automate in our business? Are there things that we can set up, auto pays or, in my business, like there's so many things I automate. My social media is automated. My client communication is automated. My invoicing is automated. There's something like tracking, all these things are like completely, like my funnels are completely automated. But then it's just like, well, what can I delegate, in my business or in my life, like what are things I'm spending time on that are costing me money in my business or in my life? One of my very favorite things to delegate is getting a housekeeper. If I clean my house from top to bottom, I mean, it would take me all day. When I can pay somebody and I can be making more money, working in my business and pay somebody to clean the house. That's my favorite delegation of all times is getting a housekeeper, having somebody come in once a week or once every other week or once a month and cleaning your house. That's my favorite delegation of all times. But there's other things that I might not enjoy in my business that I'm not making money at, like even like if you don't like to write newsletters, pay somebody to do your copywriting for you. If you don't like to do social media, like outsource that. Like outsourcing is so important, but it goes with both, like what in our lives are sucking our joy or what is like taking our time that we are in a position that we can delegate that. And then the third one is eliminate. Like what can we eliminate in our lives and our business that don't bring us joy? Here's one. I was a Pinterest mom when my kids are younger, and but how many times did we like spend hours and hours like doing like Valentines for our homemade Valentines for our kids' class or.
Oh my gosh, I have to laugh because I lost the filling in my thumb one time from cutting out so many Valentines. It took like 2 days for me to get the filling.
Oh yeah.
So that's making me laugh.
Well, but with that being said too, some people like really do enjoy that stuff, know, and my sister and I have this conversation all the time because sometimes even, this is kind of getting sidetracked, but sometimes we get like guilted or shamed because we do like to do that stuff and that's okay, but we have to like look at our life and say, what are the things that we can eliminate in our lives that aren't bringing us joy? And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with boundaries too. I think is just saying no, learning to say no and eliminating things in our life and our business that really aren't like bringing us joy. This was a couple of years ago. but I was in a networking group and we met once a week where I live, and we would, and I just did not look forward to it. Like I dreaded it. It wasn't like the best vibe with the networking. There was like some drama. And I was like, this is not, this isn't bringing me joy. Like I'm dreading it. And like, like life's too short to spend time on things that don't like bring us up and bring us joy. And so just get eliminating that stuff. There might be something in your business that you're doing that you are like, I hate this. Like I do not enjoy this at all. And then that's when you delegate it or you eliminate it and you get rid of it. So, I mean, I think that's really like important to like, take inventory in your business once a quarter, once or twice a year, and just like, what are things that I can automate, delegate, or eliminate in my business that aren't moving me forward and helping me progress? So
that is really such good advice, and just a really simple way to look at it too, just those 3 words. And isn't it interesting that we think, like I'm thinking about you and your networking group that you were going to, that we just sometimes think we just have to like grin and just bear something. And I'm so curious by that, like why we think we have to just hang on, and why it's so hard for us to eliminate some things. I guess there are some things that we think that, well, this just has to be done. And there might be a small percentage of things that really do need to be done. But for the most part, there are so many things that, I like to think, what if the reason I like really disliking doing this is because it's really just not where I am supposed to be spending my time. Maybe there's something out there I haven't found yet. And this is keeping me from finding a better use of my time that's going to give the same results to me in my business as this might be, but in a better way for me, a way that's going to be more fit to my personality or more part of who I am. And we block ourselves from that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, in our business journey, we are like, here's point A and here's point B, and we're just trying to get to like that point B, and we see how other people are doing it. And I think that we think, oh, I have to do it that way if I want to be successful, because that's the way the person did it, or that's the way that I learned. But that's not true. And I often tell my clients, like, there's more than one way to get from point A to point B. In order to not get burnt out, like you have to do what like you're passionate about. Like let's talk social media, because that is such a huge like part of so many people's businesses. If you don't enjoy getting on camera or doing Instagram or whatever, then that's not the only way you can do it. If you enjoy writing, write blogs. People can find you through Google, and if you want to write, that's a way to do it. There's more than one way. And I think that in our head, we think this is what we have to do because that's what so-and-so did that made them successful. And that's not true. There's more than one way. If you are not even like social media, but you are somebody who's like, likes to get out and get involved in your community and talk, like you can build a business that way too. There's more than one way to do it. And so we have to just really, if you're not passionate and you're not confident about something, it's really hard to be consistent if you're dreading it.
Yeah. And one of my mentors and teachers, Molly Claire, has said before, and this just really resonated with me. When you feel like you have to do it somebody else's way, you end up trying to build somebody else's business. Like you're not building your business anymore. You're trying to do somebody else's.
Yeah.
And when I thought of it in that terms, it really brought things to light for me. Yeah. I don't want a business like, that person has, the person that I was comparing myself to. That's not what I even want my business to look like. And so we have to really learn to tune in and turn into ourselves and figure out what it is we want, and then do it our way, which is really scary. It sometimes feels easier just to follow somebody else, but it'll never be as successful when you're trying to do it somebody else's way.
No. And I think be open to learning, be open to criticism, be open to trying new things. But it's, especially when you're starting a business, I always say like that first year, you have all these like little wins, like, oh, I got a website. Yay. I have like my like LLC. Yay. And then year 2, you're investing and you're like, okay, like I'm spending more money than I'm making. And then it's like year 3, you're starting to grow. It's year 3 or 4 when you really, if you stay consistent, you're really going to see growth. But you have to try things. You have to figure out what works for you. And I always say to my clients, like they'll say, sometimes they want me to tell them like, do this. And I'm like, I think it sounds like a good idea, but you have to try it. You have to test it. And your business is going to look different, just like our lives. They're going to look different a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, because we're constantly changing. We're constantly finding different things that work and work better for us. And it's a numbers game. You just have to keep trying, and then you're going to find something that really like, hey, this feels good. Like, yes, this is what I love,
And we sometimes have a really hard time tuning into ourselves and discovering the pieces that we love to do, like doing it our way and trusting that our way is okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I'm just thinking about Instagram, and when on Instagram, when Reels came out, it was kind of like TikTok, and I've been fighting like TikTok because I don't like my kids to have social media. I'm not a huge fan of social media, and I was definitely not a fan of TikTok. And so, I was like, no way, no way. And then I saw how Instagram started doing and I was like, oh, I will not be shaking my booty on Instagram. I'm saying that. But then it's like everywhere we if you're in that realm, you're hearing if you want to grow, you have to do reels, you have to do this. And so it's just I had to get creative and say how can I use reels without shaking my booty on social media, and I found a way, about it. And so I don't, and I'm not saying that I haven't shook my booty on Instagram. I'm just saying
You're
it's
gonna
not
have to go find that.
There's a couple, and there's a couple on there, and they're the ones that probably did the best, I'll be honest. But I'm just saying I'm just is that cohesive to my brand? I really like to portray a very professional, put together brand. And, and so I've had to get creative and try some other things so that I can, I can adapt and I can pivot and I can still scale and grow, but I don't have to conform to something that I don't want to do,
Yes, that is so good. I noticed, I'm laughing at that because I just noticed somebody's post on Instagram today. I don't remember who it was, but she was saying Instagram has turned business owners into hip shakers and finger pointers. That's what we've turned.
So
that's
funny.
what we've turned into. And I
thought,
totally. Yeah, it's pretty true. And it's kind of funny all at the same time.
Pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate for sure. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think what's so interesting about this conversation is that it really does parallel to life in general too, right? If we can learn to automate and delegate and eliminate in our business and in our personal lives, or either or, right? Where maybe we're not building a business. We're working in our own personal lives and our own personal goals. Doing those things in both of those areas is so helpful to anybody. And I like the elimination piece, I think is one that I'm kind of looking at right now, is paying attention to those things really in both areas of my life, business and personal, that aren't necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember this was a couple of years ago, and I remember it was, I had started my business and I was spending just so much time, and that's the thing is, and I'm realistic with my clients, you have to be patient with the process. It takes time to build all these systems and foundations. And I remember it was one summer and I just felt so just torn. My kids were home, but I was trying to build this business and I was trying to be consistent. And I remember that I said, okay, I'm going to work so hard this next year. So then come this summer, I will be able to enjoy my kids. And I did. I created these systems and these automations, and my business works. It worked all summer long. I was making the best money. I kept making more and more money. I was working less and less. But there was a time, there's a time and season for everything, but there was a time where I was sacrificing a lot of my time to build up my business and to build these foundations and these systems. And so, I'm always realistic with people, and I just say, it takes time, be patient. You can say, I'm going to build a funnel, and it can take you a month just to build a sales page or whatever it is. But you just have to be consistent and show up. But eventually, you will create a business that works when you're not working. Mm-hmm. And that's a reward.
Yeah. And having a vision, I think, and that's kind of what you said too, you had this vision of a a time where you wanted to spend less time, you were going to work harder so that you could have more time with your kids. Was it the summertime that you were looking for more time with them? I couldn't remember what.
Yeah, summer.
There.
It was summer,
Yeah,
just like
but
dark in the summer. Yeah.
yeah, but it's having, I think that's one of the pieces of being a business owner and a person, a human being in general, is that distant, like having a vision for something in the future and making a plan for it, because we have to be intentional. It's not just going to happen. If that's what you want, if you want, like I'm setting myself up right now too. I want to take 2 months off this summer, and that means I'm already working on things right now that I know I'm going to need to do so that I can take those 2 months off this summer. So it means planning far in advance, but there is great rewards for doing that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Brittany, I want to know, as we start wrapping it up here, if there's anything else that you want to share with us you think is key and pertinent, or any ways that we can parallel this to our own personal lives or in our businesses. Either way, what you got?
Well, I have lots. I have lots of things to say all the time. But no, I think, one of the things is, we talked about automate, delegate, eliminate. But another thing is like get organized and plan. Like, and I guess that's why I do what I do, is like the strategies is plan out your days, your weeks, your months. Get organized in like your goals and planning, and really like set goals that you can get more time, that you can free up your time, and if that means like, okay, I'm going to make more money so that I can delegate some of these things or whatever, but like be determined and, get in a good place with your mind, but be determined to like accomplish your goals, but you have to set them. I always say you can't think yourself to $1 million. You can't think yourself to work less and make more. Like you really have to have like a plan. And so I think, it's understand what you want. I will always tell like my clients, I'll say that I would love to work with you, but if you don't know where you're going, I can't tell you how to get there. So I think that is probably one of the big ones, is like, what do you want? And be very specific like, in your goals, is get clear on what you want. And that might mean more time with your family. That might mean more money. That might, that can mean really anything, but you have to get really clear on what you want and then create a plan and then get going. And then that's when you eliminate, delegate, and automate. So,
oh, there's something so important about a plan. I'm a planner. It makes me feel, I just like makes me feel all warm and fuzzy, I think, to think about planning. But the piece about planning that I find hard is, I don't know. I'm curious if this is a philosophy that you subscribe to, but like, are you a pencil it in on your calendar and you don't like at a certain time, like, all the things that you want to do. If you have certain tasks you want to accomplish, do you pencil them into your calendar so it correlates with a specific time? Or are you more of a, by the end of today, I'm going to have this done sort of person?
So how I plan is I plan the night before. If we're talking like daily planning, is I plan the night before, and I write down like all my appointments on my calendar, and I have a planner. I mean, I have several, like I have my phone, I have like apps, and I have like a written planner too, but I'm like, what are my 3 goals that I want to accomplish? And these are the 3 goals that are going to help like move the needle the most in my business. And I'm realistic, so I might say write 1 blog today, or I might say work on my program for 1 hour. Like I time block, but I'm very realistic about it. And then I write 3 main goals, and then I do my to-do list, and I don't touch my to-do list until my 3 main goals are accomplished. And that's kind of how I do my days, and I plan out, I have my goals, I plan out my yearly, like what are my goals, and then I plan those out and put them on months. I'm a big Post-its person too, and put things up. But I think it's just getting in the habit of planning the night before, and like doing the things that are going to move the needle the most. We tend to do the easy things like clean out junk drawers, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like this, I was getting on to do some work today and something flashed across my screen that was like, Julia Child's top 25 recipes. I've never once thought about Julia Child's recipes. And all of a sudden today I was like, I think I need to know what her top 25 recipes
Yes.
were. I just
Yes.
got so distracted and I don't need
Yes.
to know that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I love to hear how people plan because I have a way that works for me. And I love for other people to hear different ways to plan. I think it's so important to experiment and figure out what works best for you, because sometimes, like in building a business, we think we're supposed to do it a certain way. And I think if the way you're planning isn't working for you right now, it's not because you're not a planner. It might just be because, and most likely is because you haven't found the way that works best for you. So just keep experimenting, I think, is always so important in that.
For sure.
Okay. I am curious, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. I would love for you to share with people, if you feel comfortable, about your nonprofit organization that you do.
Yeah. So in May of 2017, my son passed away. He was almost 15 years old. And kind of why I started it is after he passed away, these kids started coming to our house. And we've always been, my family, my husband and I especially, have always been huge advocates of like service. And one of my favorite quotes from Tony Robbins is, "We only suffer when we think of ourselves." And throughout our lives and our marriage, my husband and I, we'd be going through something hard and we would like stop and say, okay, we need to serve somebody. We need to serve somebody. Like things are hard. Like we need to think about other people. And I have been in the nonprofit sector for 15 years. I've been like heavily involved in a lot of nonprofits. And after my son passed away, we saw like these kids struggling. And at the time that my son passed away, my daughter was in elementary school, I had a son in middle school, and then my son was in high school. And we just saw how it was affecting these kids. And so, we're like, we have to teach them to serve. And so we met with like the school administration and said, can we start like these clubs? Can we start a compassion club at the schools to help these kids? And they were super supportive. And we started the compassion clubs. And basically, we would meet with them, the kids, and we would tell stories. A lot of times they were about our son. And then we would go do like random acts of kindness. So one of them was we put Post-it notes, like words of encouragement all over the schools. And then another time after a football home game, we cleaned up. We like brought trash bags and cleaned up so we'd give the janitors a night off with their family. We've done things like homeless kits, and we've done like Halloween costume drives for low income schools. And, we've just done like a lot of these things. And I was posting on social media and people started saying like, how can I bring this club to my kids' school? My kids are doing this. And tons of kids were reaching out and saying, can you help me start one of these at my school? And so that's kind of how the nonprofit was born. So then we formed a 501c, and we created it was the labor of love. There was like some parents, some teachers, counselors, administrators, and for a year we put together a curriculum. And in the curriculum, it tells them how to organize a club, but also how like stories and ideas and quotes and just for different values, 12 different values. And so we create this curriculum, and then we sell the curriculum to schools. And with the money that we get from the curriculum, we give back to the kids in the clubs. And so we've given $25,000 in scholarships and grants since 2017. And so that is kind of like, that's the nonprofit. It's called the Compassion Club. It's showcompassion.org is our website. You can read more about it on there. But that's where I started it. And I've always been huge. And we didn't really talk a ton about this, but I'm huge on that even in businesses, is like always give back, always find a way to take your talents and your skills. And I think it's a way of just showing gratitude, and it comes back in your business tenfold. Like I promise you, when you take the time to like really serve and to give back to your community, then it really like it comes back. It always comes back. So so that's my nonprofit. So
thank you for sharing that. I'd known that you had one, and so I was really happy to hear more about it and be more educated on it. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Brittany, thank you so much for being here with me today. I would love for you to tell people now you share where they can find the information on your nonprofit, but also can you share with us where they can find you and help that
Yeah.
they can get on their business coaching?
Yes, for sure. So you can find me on my website, brittnischroeder.com, and that's spelled Brittni. Both of my names are kind of hard to spell, but BrittniSchroeder.com. And then I'm on Instagram too, Brittni.Schroeder. And then I have a Facebook group, and it's Redefine Your Business on Facebook. So that is how you find me.
Oh, I love it. And we will link to all those things in the show notes. So it'll be easy for people to find. And of course, they can always find it on the directory, ldslifecoaches.com. But thank you so much. And I look forward to getting to meet with you in the future.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Brittany. Hey, we just wanted to thank you for spending part of your day here with us at Latter-day Life Coaches and being part of this conversation. Share this with your friends so that you can have a conversation with them on this topic as well. And as always, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Have a good one, my friends.